Stargirl, I am not sure at all. This is more holistic health kind of thing here. But that's more therapy realm, you know? I would say like California Poppy may help a little bit, but kind of a different approach there. That'd be more of a therapy thing. Um, let's see. Let me get a. Oh, cool. Forgot I had backgrounds saved in here. Sorry. I'm playing with some of the weird toys and functions they got on here. So we do polls. Huh. Why can't I do that? Let's see what happens when we do this. Do a little lightning Q&A round. I don't know what happens when we do that, but we're going to try. Out of nowhere, started feeling lightheaded and dizzy and nauseous. No POTS from normal blood work. Okay. Hydration's always in question. Electrolytes are always in question. And with the baseline bloods, you should have a good idea of that. There's obviously going to be more functional ranges compared to what you're going to see on a lab. So you may be deficient and just not know it on a couple things there with sodium and potassium, especially potassium, because you can't really measure that very well in the blood anyways. It's mainly inside cells, so very poor measurement there. I would just go by your RDAs, to be quite honest, in terms of some of the minerals that come in, because now you know, okay, here's how much I should be getting based off my weight and activity and all that. But the hydration piece is a definite one. And yeah, who knows? Maybe you got inflammatory sources there with food coming into the system that you didn't look at. And now that's creating an allergic response. Histamine can elevate some of those things too and change how you're using fuel, how you're getting rid of things in your body. And now you may even start to recycle some things that you don't want recycled. Oh, wow. That was fantastic. I had like a segment that was just ready to go there. What can I do? I would want to see the baseline blood labs that you have already, because now we can know, okay, let's get some functional eyes on that blood work there and see if there's maybe a missing piece that wasn't picked up on. But then again, looking at potassium citrate, looking at the RDAs for sodium, potassium, magnesium, get those down pat. That's like a great place to start. But then looking for chronic sources of inflammatory triggers too. You can do maybe some retraining with like inversion tables and things like that, because you can stabilize or help stabilize and adapt blood pressure in different positions. I've done that with a couple people just in my own home, which is pretty cool. I love inversion tables. They're great. They're great for helping your body adapt to blood pressure and getting a good grip on that, and even getting some blood to circulate a ton that normally wouldn't. But yeah, there's some metabolic questions there if you should be even considering an inversion table in the first place. But potassium, focus on your electrolytes, and probably a food allergy test, but send me the blood work that you've had there. Very hydrated. Some people consider themselves hydrated though, and then they're like, yeah, I'm hydrated. When I go and urinate, it's like perfectly clear, and it's like That's not how it's supposed to be at all. You don't want it to be perfectly clear. You're going to be getting rid of a lot of minerals if that's the case. So, different than you just may think, normally. But it's hard to walk for a while because of the dizziness. Yeah. Blood work, or not just blood work, but getting labs done to figure out what is creating chronic inflammatory sources in the body, especially when you have unanswered questions and unanswered symptoms, even if you've tried a bunch of things already. So there's still something going on there that you need to look at on a deeper level, and typically that's not going to be done all that often. They'll look at pathology, which is great, but a lot of the time, once you address pathology, that's kind of it. You have to still dig there to go, okay, well, why did that happen in the first place? And what do I do as the patient in the long term to not have this happen again, for one thing, but then how to, rebuild back past that to where you were originally. So how to get back to normal, But yeah, seeing the labs is key. It's like knowing, you want to know what you're walking into and where to direct things. So where you're deficient, where things could be getting a little bit in excess or toxic there. And stressors coming in too, because really it's just a combination of stressors that everybody interacts with daily. And you're human beings. You're going to have cravings. You're going to have food that you shouldn't have. And that's where the support comes in, and you go, okay, maybe we could do a little Albizia here. If we're stressing out, maybe we could do a little bit of poppy. Oh, that's perfect. The camera was a little bit too high there. I was like, why does this look all funky? But yeah, did cut out the carbs. Nice. That's a big one too, because they're going to inflame your body quicker than anything else. I don't know if that was the reason. Sometimes it can be. You could have cut sugar out. Well, I would wonder if you cut sugar out because of this in the first place, or if you just kind of cut the carbs first and then this started up, then yeah, that could definitely, you just be deficient in things. But send me a message there. I'll send you basically a guide of plate structuring and then where to focus some of those minerals on in terms of foods that they're very rich in. So let me know. Yes, of course. You're very welcome. How to stop being addicted to sugar? Well, that's a really hard one to get rid of. And I would say impossible, because you're human. You're a human being. How do you mitigate those sugar cravings when they're in excess? Because obviously, you're going to go through different stressors. And just over-consuming sugar alone, stressing out in all different forms, chemically, mentally, physically, will throw your body off in the first place. And now, insulin regulation, blood sugar itself. Can you do Gymnema, Oregon grape? I mean, Gymnema, the sugar destroyer, that's its name. So you just want to make sure you're getting the proper formulation of herbal tinctures when you're, starting to take those things, because you don't want to waste money on products that doesn't even work, or you're just getting a couple minerals in there. And that's usually what people go and do, during these lives. But we got the online store now in the bio. So Gymnema, Oregon grape, you'll metabolize sugar better, have mitochondria even turn on to more of a fat burning mode and just handle glucose a lot better. But protein breakdown, stimulating the gallbladder, the liver, helping with even move yeast out of the body too from some of the effects of Gymnema. Gymnema will also change the sweet receptors on the tongue, and it's one of the only herbs on the planet that can block the sweet receptors on the tongue itself and change that. And I'll even have people retrain their brain. So that's kind of why I started my answer like that. But to the real answer to your question, yeah, increasing your fiber, getting your lean muscle mass up, getting protein higher are all going to help with some of that. But Gymnema basically changing the actual sweet receptor binding on the tongue itself. So when you eat a piece of chocolate after taking Gymnema, and that's how you kind of retrain that, it's like kind of gross. It tastes a little bit sour. It's like, ugh, you know. Um, but very useful. Very useful there. And it goes a long way. But Oregon Grape 2, fantastic. If you want to support, stomach acid, doing apple cider vinegar prior to meals, there's just different wild yeast complexes that will help with some prebiotic support, and there will be blood sugar effects from that alone. Obviously, I would want to see lab work too, and guide based on that, because that's going to know what we got to do that way. But I mean, supporting the liver maybe too, but that's going to vary depending on what's going on. In general, you could do something like turmeric. So there you go. 3 little things you could do. Actually 4, including the ACV. 5, including the fiber, and 6 with the movement. Get some muscle on you. Because muscle is going to handle sugar very well. Yes, sir. Lincoln Biofree, there's stuff there too. Clean forms of this. You want to make sure potency, purity, concentration, because these herbs take half a year to sometimes several years to even make, because it's got to grow, then you got to harvest, then it has to soak and ferment for a while. So, but more herbal medicine type things. And yeah, there's always beautiful support with glandulars there too. So something like a digestive glandular where you're getting stomach tissue and pancreas, so that liver as well, small intestine, all the enzymes and aminos that come from those tissues you will be getting and using to rebuild your own. So pretty cool, just a lot of enzymatic and cofactor support there. And that's your body, every single cell needs those things. So if you just cover deficiencies that people are commonly, catching themselves in, then you're going to do kind of well. It's just the unguided, guesswork. That's where people find themselves wrapped up in. But that's what we help with, guiding people on, okay, well, what's the next best step here, though? Like, based on all the stuff that you got going on, I have patients like, I consulted ChatGPT and Grok and all these things, and it's like, I do not know what to do because there's so many suggestions. And where do you even get these things from, and how that support? Because in the natural world, things are going to have to change and rotate over time. So, you don't just take Golden Seal for 6 months. You're going to have some serious issues if you do that. But hello from, I don't even know where you're from, but hello. Kind of a crazy flag there, huh? I forget that I have this little thing to post my elbow on, and it's like perfect for scrolling through all the questions here, but we're going to have this out to all the platforms. So like her up, share her up. I think I could even, I could even like it. Wow, how cool. Oh, actually, I could, I need my other phone in here too. I got 2 phones. Oh, it's right there. Perfect. There we go. How you doing there? I don't think I've seen it in here before. Who is that? Muhammad. Hello, Muhammad. How you doing? Let's see what we can do here. The topic is kind of up to you guys. Whatever health questions you get. And obviously from a holistic point of view, we'll go through things, talk about pretty much what's going on, why that could be happening, and then what are the next steps for that person, really. But what can eliminate H. pylori? Yeah, that's a really common question on here nowadays. The reason why that happens is because of microbial overgrowth that starts in the GI, and you also have low stomach acid there. That just creates an environment that's like destined for H. pylori, because low stomach acid is why it overgrows in the first place. It's usually there and just kept under the radar because there's enough stomach acid. So you may have had some bloating and acid reflux and taken PPIs and done something like that, or had maybe like a water exposure or food exposure to something. But that would help me kind of gauge where this is at. I would also want to see the lab and any other lab work that you've had for this, because that's going to guide us a ton on, well, what do you do now? Because there's not like a magic protocol for you out there. That needs to stop in your guys' brains. There's not a magic protocol for each, specific condition that's being hidden in that bookshelf over there. That's not that's not how this works. It's not how health works. It's not how your body works. Not how physiology works. So there's reasons why your body loses function as you're exposed to different stressors throughout your entire life. Even from the time you're a little baby is going to add up to the problems that you have today. So we are all onions, and we got to peel back those layers. Stomach acid, though, is a big one. B10HCl, opposite of vinegar. But you can't really stop there, though. You can't stop there, because say that it gets better. It's just going to come back at some point. So, I'll even have people do that with like certain, like even a food allergy test. They'll be like, oh, I got my foods done. Cool. I'll avoid them and we're good now. It's like, well, we didn't repair or rebuild anything. So the new foods are just going to switch to what you started eating. Does L-carnitine work? I don't use isolated things because there's going to be amino acids like that are within other things. Organ meats, bone broth, protein, great sources to get things like that from, that you can get that source plus all the other things that are supposed to go with it. The same way you would eat an apple and not take like apple extract, kind of a rough example there, but you want not a tanning bed, but the full ray of the sun, So let's get all the constituents from that thing found in nature. But yeah, usually inflammatory issues or the GI, people are taking something like that. It's just, how do you know you need that in particular? And when do you stop taking these things, right? When do you slow down? When do you speed up? What else should you be doing on top of that? There's more questions there, but mastic gum eliminates pylori. What do you know about that? I heard. Is this the same person? Okay, last digits were 9-1. So let's go back up here. Okay, same person. I just finished saying that there's no magic protocol out there with one thing that you're going to take. So no. Could it help? Maybe. It's usually a low stomach acid issue, and then the environment that led to that infection to take place in the first place. So there's no $20 thing that you're going to buy that's going to make that go away entirely. Not going to happen. Not going to happen for any condition out there. There's things that you can do that can help mitigate that process, but until you find the causal factors for the reason why it's happening to you in particular, not just for the name of what you got, you're not going to figure that out. Which is what I spend my time on here doing. Quality sleep is not good. I wake up many times during the night. I think it's because you're eating before sleep. Yeah, big reason. Big reason for that. And a similar type of feeling is like when some patients will take melatonin and then wake up like wide awake at 2 or 3 o'clock because it's such a powerful antioxidant that your liver's working a lot during those hours, and there's so much going on, even glucose handling, that can bring up cortisol temporarily. So as you process some food and things, similar reaction. You eat, and slowly over time, is because you're going to break that food down even slower too. So once all that blood sugar hits, then you're waking up. You're waking up. But I would wonder how your whole circadian rhythm there is, though, too, with wake patterns. Um, when are you getting hungry? And then when are you trying to go to bed, too? Because if that circadian rhythm is off and you're waking up late and going to bed late, then all that is going to be a reason why you get hungry at those times, too, and feel the need to eat close to bed. So, yeah, a little light on that, but melatonin in that topic, too. Hey, now spend a day and go, all right, let me skip dinner here and just reset my whole thing and take some melatonin that night, and then you could kind of kick your body into gear of waking up a little bit earlier, getting hungrier earlier. Wow. That's a bit of a mouthful. Blake, how you doing, buddy? Adiba, hello. How are you? How you guys doing? Symptoms of low vitamin D. Man, that is a laundry list. That is a laundry list. Everything goes wrong with with low vitamin D. And that's like most people this time of year, so no wonder, huh? Winter's a hard time for a lot of people. And I think low vitamin D is a huge reason. Symptoms individually, though, it's like, man, all of them. not legitimately, but pretty darn close to all of them. Vitamin D's a big one. She is a big one, but yes, as I said before, check out the case videos there too. I'm going to post them more and more as more come out here and patients start doing way better. But yeah, check them out. We're probably going to be getting one every couple days or one every day at this point, and just sharing their stories. So it's kind of like, hey, could I share this with a bunch of people that may resonate with this and have the same exact issues going on and find a bunch of answers for them? So kind of awesome how you can do that. And the clips too. Clips are nice. Help a lot of people out there too. But that's a new thing we're going to put in there. And probably on the weekends, I'm going to be doing more webinar type things to where we're going to have, a topic of discussion, go through a talk there, maybe inflammation talks, thyroid talks, and just cover one topic in have slides and a whole lecture thing. So kind of doing some new stuff there, but that's kind of as we wait for this x-ray room to be done for the past, I don't even know how many months, but it's taking a while, but we're getting there, waiting for the town to basically approve some things there, and then we get the sink going, then we get the x-ray room, all the letting too. It's going to be kind of cool. I'll film some of that for you guys too. Big R. That is an interesting question there. I don't know if I'm going to unfilter that comment coming through. But a lot of new faces today. Why does it seem like chiros like to call bowel glass inflammation? Can you please explain? Just asking. Yeah, I mean, well, it's in excess because there is normal gas patterns that pretty much anybody learning x-ray or films in general through school would see. So it's when you're seeing that in excess, because I've seen some crazy responses within the stomach or large or small intestine that sometimes there's even been like an obstruction that you could find on an x-ray and be like, get the heck out of my office, go to a hospital, there's an intestinal obstruction here. Something crazy like that is different though. But yeah, you can have gas patterns that are in excess to where people are eating toxic food, grains and bread and food that's going to expand that GI and disrupt it and put a ton of pressure forward, backward, down, to the sides, way on the low back a ton too. I see a lot of inflammation in the GI and even visceral fat getting tacked on from overconsumption of sugar, grains, and having fat stack on to the visceral organs there. And, a side view from the abdominal view, you could see that. You could see how thick the fat is, thick the expansion is of the GI, the backed up stool there. There's a lot that could go on. So when you see a lot of that and then do, a stool test on top of that, find a bunch of things going on, and then run that stool test again after you work for a couple months, see all that go away, and then retake that x-ray, and then they don't have that anymore, and you do that on everybody, it's a pretty darn cool thing. So, but yeah, it's just a different approach. It's to be looking more about function, not about just pathology all the time. And that's not even my job. My job is to, if there's a fire, call 911 and let the hospital or medical professions deal and create, that patient staying alive for crying out loud. That's what they're there for. It's to keep us alive. But does it make us healthy though? Do we really look healthier? And when all chronic conditions are way worse over time, even with more and more medicine and docs and, new diagnostics, new therapies, and everything's getting worse, we kind of need a different perspective there. And to realize that food and the way we treat our bodies and the stressors affecting us every day are what lead to those things way down the road. And to fix that environment now and to be very cognizant of it, by the day, constantly challenge yourself to evolve. And that's with any area of life. So, if you're against that, okay, cool. Like, keep scrolling, but I'm basically all for using food and lifestyle and clean supplementation guided by lab work to get people as healthy as possible so that they don't need me in the first place. And, that's a whole nother argument. It's like, well, you're a cash-based service. It's like, but yeah, they don't need me once I teach them. And a doctor, by the way, the title of that word means to teach. So when you're going to a bunch of doctors not learning anything about your own body and what to do with it on a daily basis, that am I to blame for that? When let's just have our definitions straight, But good question though. Yeah, inflammation in the GI, it's a picture of what's going on. Not everything has to jump to a diagnosis and then a pill. I mean, that's not even how my profession works anyways. You have thoughts, toxins, and trauma that create inflammatory responses. Those make you deficient or in excess or toxic. And now you have to run labs to figure out where those stressors came from and how to support things. Very simple. Very simple. It's not easy, though, because you have to be consistent with changing the food and the lifestyle, which is why there's a lot of sick people. But, really with this form of care, it's being very upfront with patients like, hey, now we have a plan of what you could do now. And as long as you follow these steps, you get better. I mean, that's how the body works, though. So just using physiology to your advantage. Flower Girl. I have a place on my bone and stomach that is numb totally. Sometimes it's like a weird feeling. I would get an x-ray done or some form of imaging there. I'm not able to gain weight. Okay. Tried a lot of times. My skin is breaking out. Not gaining weight. So, with those two details together, you didn't mention any issues with the cycle. This is probably something in your GI going on because of the signs of the skin changing, skin barriers, getting acne, your body's pushing out some bacterial or fungal or some toxic overgrowth or even things you consume there. That could be food as well. That could be water. That could be air quality. So many different things. But probably coming from the GI, and that's thrown off your body's ability to absorb food, which I see a lot with low stomach acid, low digestive enzymes, bile salts, things like that. And now you can't take that food and create tissues out of it, so you can't gain weight. And it's basically going right through you, pun intended there. My periods are not even regular. Okay, so there can be some hormonal changes going on here too. That might explain some of the acne piece with DHT or testosterone building up there. But click the link in bio, schedule a complimentary consult there. And if you have some labs to go over, I'd love to see them. We'll do like a Teams meeting and share the screen and everything. Or get you some labs so that we know what to do. I mean, in the meantime, can you work on some stomach acid support, some apple cider vinegar prior to eating, getting your sugars down a little bit, getting fiber up, obviously focus on meats for proteins there. Support your liver, something like Sasandra. That'll help with skin and hormonal conversions with the liver, even removing yeast out of the body too, through certain steps there. But fiber is good for the gut. Yes, it is. Definitely. Oh, whoa. Almost fell. But yeah, I don't know. There's probably two things going on there. Okay, so if I saw an epilepsy, not completely controlled by meds, so, early steps, California poppy, bacopa, valerian root, so that you can calm down the brain. Valerian root, fantastic for GABA production, or more sensitization of GABA receptors. California poppy helping get catecholamines down, get cortisol down, and bacopa, probably my favorite adaptogen to give to the brain. And adaptogens there's no medications that are adaptogens because it's basically how a plant can turn the dial up or down. Think of like a adaptogenic stress herb like ashwagandha will take the adrenals up or down. So it can give you either directions, especially with people that are like autoimmune and their adrenals are extremely low sometimes or elevated. You can find that happy medium. But valerian root, California poppy, bacopa, three things that can really make a difference right now. I would even throw in alcydonia on top of that for a fourth one. Link in bio for those. But also, as you're in that website, book a complimentary consult because we have to run a neurotransmitter test on you and possibly some other labs done through the urine so that we can figure out what's happening chemically in the brain and how to basically get these responses back to normal by removing different toxins that you either can't get rid of or you may be deficient in other areas. There is microbial pieces that are involved here too, so let us know. Irene says hello. How are you, Irene? Doc Mayer told me that it is only nerve, but I experience headache and dizziness also. Okay, so then there's probably some other structural issue going on within the cervical spine too that can be connected to some of those other pieces that you're seeing. But yeah, I would go to a chiropractor. That's probably the best profession for you in particular right now. Either taking those x-rays with you or having them being sent to them, or having that chiro retake some films on you to evaluate those structures in cervical, thoracic, lumbar areas, and tend to your body in particular. So that can help a ton. My nose is so itchy right How's your day, love? I'm doing well. Thanks, Doc. You're welcome. Holly Ann, can I ask how linked endometriosis and IBD is? They can be more linked than you think because of, if we just take one topic in particular, like beta glucuronidase, just one topic. There's probably 10 that we can go over right now. But for a lot of hormonal issues where you have excess hormones that are not making their way out of the body, like in PCOS or in endometriosis. So it could be either one of these. And beta glucuronidase is basically an enzyme that inhibits your body's ability to get rid of things and break things like hormones down and get them out of the body. So if that is now overgrowing, and usually bacteria will influence this, yeast can influence this, and the overall environment in that GI too. But yeah, now you're going to recirculate a bunch of those hormones, and my goodness, now it's like, where do we start? Like, there's so many different factors here, but that one piece alone can create that type of response, because it is a response. Your body's creating that. And I talked beta glucuronidase because with IBD and the GI itself having stress on it from food, toxicity, a whole bunch of things that could be involved there, even vaccines alone. Tons of data on that. The Wellness Way now, we have a whole vaccine database to where you can search any condition, and if there's vaccines linked to it, we give you the research right there. So check out thewellnessway.com. But yeah, there's a whole lot there. And doing proper testing for that, looking at what microbials are overgrown in the first place, will give you insight to that too. So, and know what to do. A lot of people saying, hey, how you guys doing there? Bianca, I think I've seen you in here, Bianca. Yes, very welcome. And for anybody on here too, complimentary calls through the link in bio there. That way we can get some next best steps oriented for what testing looks like too, because you probably need blood and urine hormone testing and possibly a urine lab to evaluate things microbially there too, and know the game plan of how to get this back to normal. So my accent is hard. What accent do I have? I didn't even know I had an accent. All right, probably gonna do a little halftime here, and I'll be right back. Trying to open Computadora like a buffoon. Okay, there we go. Cool. I hear a bunch of, what is that, construction going on downstairs? Evan Peters. We have to have at least one person say it per day. I don't pay these people to say it. It's at least one a day that mentions the Evan Peters stuff. So, I think it's kind of funny, you know. It's kind of there, resemblance-wise. Not as much as you guys think, though. Jeffrey Dahmer. No. We're here to help people, not hurt them. We're here to help people. I swear. Here, let's get as we... Oh no, wrong thing. There we go. Just joking. I know. Let's pull up some of these too. Yeah, there we go. I was trying to figure out why I be looking so greasy today, you know? Look at that. I didn't even put anything in my hair. Either way. Oh, another update. The sauna. I ordered a Kife sauna in mid-January, so a long time ago, and it's getting delivered tomorrow. Finally. But I've been waiting for a while. It's an outdoor sauna. It looks like kind of like a hunting blind with a camp stove inside and a couple benches, but super cool. And it comes with a cold plunge, so I'm like hyped for that thing. And it better get here tomorrow because they've been saying that for a month. Yeah, a little over a month now. So, but apparently, as soon as I ordered it, the last one sold, and I was the first pre-order for the next round of them. So, don't make that mistake if you're ordering things. But yeah, I was going to pull up and see if I had something on this. Yeah. And hold on a sec. Oh, cool. Just have my computer in a better spot now. But I figured with the sauna coming in, why not go over some of those sauna benefits, right? Because they are awesome. And I mean, it's cold right now. It's cold where I am, at least. So it's really nice to... Hold on, I gotta verify this stinking thing. So it's really nice to get super warm in a sauna. I've done a couple of them. Actually, my buddy got his delivered last week or 2 weeks ago. So I used that one a couple times. But sweating is kind of overlooked. And sweating is great for multiple things in the body. Simply getting water weight off. After consuming or over consuming some sugar or some carbs there, you can get rid of a lot of that water weight through your sweat there, and even helping the skin. Like if you start doing some sauna, I have a health question. Ask away. I'm just kind of in the background going over sauna benefits. So if you guys got questions in the middle of it, fire down what you got. We'll join your stuff there. But yeah, in terms of how the sauna is going to change the skin, if you just do this with yourself and do like sauna for 2-3 days in a row, you're going to see your skin start to change a lot. I guarantee, even on these lives coming up in the future, as soon as I get my sauna in there, I'm going to try and get some nice skin reaction or skin changes there. Somebody said they already asked one. Oh no. Oh, you did. You did ask one. Start taking supplements with magnesium for back muscles. Do you recommend or glycinate? Yeah, I'd say glycinate's the way to go to target things with muscles. If you're trying to do that, citrate's gonna pull a lot of water into the GI and help you go if you're constipated or something like that. So, a little different actions there. But yes, so I mean, sauna with the benefits to the skin will benefit and make you look a little bit younger as time goes on, because you're going to be getting rid of toxicity out of the skin, and it's not going to age there. And even like when people are like, oh my goodness, sunlight on your skin throughout the course of your life will damage your skin and all these things. They don't look at the diet coming in to the people where that's happening. Because when you have healthy people eating regularly, eating just normal food and not being deficient in things, they don't get all these skin issues. So, better absorption. You mean with the magnesium citrate piece, not necessarily better absorption, it's just going to target the GI more than the muscles in particular. So what you're looking for, from what you said there, looking for more action toward helping the muscle tissue and helping things calm down and recover there, glycinate's going to be your best choice by far for something like that. Thanks, Anna. Miss Karen popping in there. Karen with a C, though. I swear this is not Evan Peters. It is not. It is not. Yeah, you're welcome. You are welcome. Look at that. All the way from Indonesia. Hello there, Anna. All right. I don't know why that got filtered. Your hello from Indonesia got filtered. I don't know what's going on here. TikTok's been acting weird, though, past couple of days. Or actually just yesterday and today. I don't know. Either way, this is going out to all the platforms, regardless. But yeah. Okay, back to sauna things. We were talking about the skin, how that benefits things. Obviously, you're not going to reverse aging with doing something like a sauna, but it will help you. It will help you get things out of the body that are not, are lingering around or not supposed to be there in the first place. And through that, you're going to get your skin benefit because it is your largest organ. And if you're not helping those things convert out, Jen, what's going on there? D, I don't know if I've seen you in here before. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Let me know if it's your first time. Actually, how many people in here is it your first time watching? I'm just curious. I never asked the live chats. I'm going to ask you guys questions. Unless you ask me one. Good morning. Oh my goodness, where are you from? It is not morning here. It's 3:30, but it feels like it's freaking 7 p.m. for some reason. Having a global sensation in my throat. What is the solution? From Nigeria. Could be anxiety. Could be hypothyroidism. Two common things there. I have a question. It's 4 a.m. now. I can't sleep. Okay. When you're looking at sleep latency, and so your body's ability to get to sleep and then stay asleep, there's a couple different things there. Valerian root and like passion flower, California poppy will help with the sleep latency piece, with keeping you asleep. In terms of, getting to sleep, honestly, melatonin is going to be the king there. So it kind of depends on what's going on. But yeah, there can be blood sugar dysregulation. There can be issues with the adrenals as well. That's now thrown off the circadian rhythm. Can be patterns of behavior that's gone on for a while that now your brain's sort of in this rhythm. But yeah, to break the rhythm, we got to get some labs done, but book a free call in the bio there. Link is in the bio. Cheers. Cheers to some salt water, in case you were wondering. But melatonin and tallow magnesium lotion. That's a cool thing there. That makes a lot of sense though. You're getting it right into the system. All right, back to sauna stuff too. Just because we got the sauna coming in tomorrow, so we, as in me, are really excited about it. And as we're waiting for questions from we, as in you guys, in the chats, I'll keep going here through some article things on saunas in particular. So, the heat from a sauna increases blood circulation, as you know. Oh, look like Evan Peters. We know. There's actually a guy in here saying that right before, so it's actually kind of funny. Or girl, I'm not sure. But as we're waiting on questions, I'm going to go over some sauna things. If I don't get interrupted by another Evan Peters comment, but we'll see. The heat from a sauna increases blood circulation and vasodilation. So getting more blood flow, and then having your blood vessels spread out and spread that blood everywhere, which is a good thing. Obviously helping move blood around, move blood through the body, get nutrition to the skin, keeping your body young there, and constantly getting fueled. Obviously, cells to replicate and make sure that they're not damaged during that replication. You do need proper nutritional support, and increasing blood flow is a great thing. Just doing it in a different way too, and even pairing that sauna session with exercise prior to it is even better. You can carry over those effects from the exercise a little bit more. Some really cool research on that. But yeah, helping mobilize blood flow. And then depending on which type of sauna you're doing, if it's more infrared, you can stimulate collagen. You can have elastin be increased too within the skin barriers, obviously with wrinkles, frown lines, obviously on the forehead here too. If you're a very emotional or smiley person, you're going to be prone to some more wrinkles. So this is where sauna and good fatty acid-based things for the skin barriers like castor oil or beef tallow, as we said before in the chats here. I think Jen was talking about her magnesium beef tallow prior to sleep, which is awesome there. That's like a skin routine and a sleep routine in one. But yeah, sauna helping in a couple different ways there. With acne, open up the pores, helping get toxicity out through the sweat. Obviously getting any crumbs or dirt out of your skin there too. But the detoxification portion, saunas are great for supporting that in a couple other ways than your body normally would. And you're just allowing that sweat process to take place a lot more. And with any good sauna session, you're going to be getting toxins to exit your body quicker than you normally would throughout the day. So the breathing process in that sauna too, you're getting sweat, you're increasing your heart rate, you're getting more respiration out of, the breaths you take, and now you're getting toxicity out that way too, which people they kind of forget about their, breath rate being involved there. But, and during that too, your body's going to be able to take toxins out and put them in the bladder, put them in the stool from that sauna session too. So it's not just like one thing there. Your sauna can just speed up that whole process from the blood circulation piece to helping your skin barriers, your lymphatic system, and then with the infrared sauna, even more action on the skin there because of the collagen stimulation there from the red light. So your body stores all kinds of toxins within fat tissue. That is the main area for storing toxicity. Fat is like, if you got heavy metals, you got lead, you got mercury that you're being exposed to, just to name a few, that's going to be stored right into fat tissue. So I mentioned that because with infrared, you can penetrate those deeper layers and work on some of the remediation of that too. Let's see if we had, I think Emily had a question in there. Advice for sanity. I would be a little bit more curious as to some of the details on your situation there. Just knowing kind of what's going on with the birth control. Are you trying to work off of that? Are you trying to just stay on it? That's up to you. But what tests have been ran on you? Where are the hormonal systems at? And have you done any neurotransmitter support there too? Whether it be testing or, support factors like Bacopa and helping get the hypothalamus and pituitary to calm down emotionally there too. With something like ashwagandha, Bacopa, you can pick some adaptogens that aren't going to send your body in directions that, you don't know of as you're waiting to get some testing done. But I would book a call in the link in bio there if you're really just looking for a quick thing here. Bacopa, ashwagandha, good adaptogens, and if the stress is just really high, I would do those two for now, though. I would really want to get some blood work done and see where FSH and LH signaling are. because that's going to throw you off like crazy. Your hormones basically shape your own reality here. So if those are being, having a hard time finding their rhythms again, then you're going to feel crazy most of the time. So okay, wait. Why did this scroll me to the bottom? Silica-rich mineral water, or sauerkraut juice. You could do that too. And then somebody says, your kidneys and liver already do that without silica-rich water. Well, yeah, when people are having toxins build up and they can't filter them out quick enough, that's not good. Especially when you run labs on these people and it says, yeah, in the 99th percentile. Actually, I just posted a video today of a woman that had, she was in postmenopausal with thyroid issues, very low hormones, and had perchlorate building up in her system there, which is from dairy. And what the cows are fed actually gets into the dairy product and will create a hypothyroidism scenario. So, if we're talking about toxins and you're in the medical profession, I'm sorry, I'm completely different realm here. I don't think I can even have that conversation just yet. But just super sensitive. Okay, back to the birth control thing. Cry over the tiniest stuff. Super laggy, brain fog, eczema flaring. Okay, that's different then. You can do some St. John's wort there just to get more out of dopamine, more out of a little bit of norepinephrine in some good ways though, serotonin, because that's going to be thrown off when you have some of those things circulating there. It's also going to help with really phase 1 toxin removal, speeding up that process in your liver, which is really dependent on hormones and things there, and probably doing some Schisandra and California poppy. Those would be my 3 there, knowing that piece of info. But obviously with the eczema piece, you're having some GI issues. Birth control been shown with long-term data to really cause disruption within the GI and then lead to even like a bottlenecking eventually of things going on hormonally, depending on what you're on, and then having testosterone build up like crazy. I've seen women with testosterone at 90, and then take them all the way back to normal. And that was somebody that had endometriosis and was put on birth control and then eventually had PCOS from the bottlenecking of that hormonal process because the liver was so having a hard time converting those things out, and the GI too. So liver, GI, adrenal systems, they're all, you can't separate these systems. So I'm from New Jersey. But yeah, Emily, I would schedule a complimentary consult. When do you know it's not deconditioning, but progressing muscle weakness? I would probably want to know a couple more details there. It sounds like a training question, so give us some more details on dietary things, what the workouts look like, what you're doing there. Do you know anything about Tentorium Plus? I've never heard of that, ever. Sorry. But let me know a couple details, and maybe we will expand on it. Cool. I think we're all caught up with some of those. Okay. Let's get the chats. I'm gonna load this up here. All right. I'm sick of reaching across the dang table. Okie doke. So I think Elaine was our next one. Yeah, the glasses. The glasses are here to prevent blue light absorption, and they're daylight ones, so still allowing, actual daylight because sun's still out. And I don't have a extra lighting in front of me, which is nice. Taking advantage of the natural light. But yeah, helps a lot with the screens and everything and preventing my eyes from getting dried out. Because when you have blue light on screens, you don't blink as much. You blink like 20% of the time, actually. So horrible, horrible effects there. And if your job requires a lot of screen time and you do 8 hours work a day and now you're blinking only at a certain percentage of all those hours, man, terrible. But yeah, since I've been wearing these though, my goodness, sleep's improved and no longer getting burning eyes. It's like the best thing ever. So check them out. These are the TrueDark ones though. No ties to them at all. I just liked the look of them. I wish that they could allow you to size the frames though, because I didn't really know. Never wore glasses ever in my life. But yeah, I think some of the brands out there allow you to size them. Like say you have like a super small face or super large face or something, you can tailor it to you, which is really nice. Okay, we got some more questions popping in here. Done studies on aluminum. That's pretty cool. Katrina, did I just get scammed? I saw that was about the question earlier. I just haven't heard of that product. I don't know if it's a scam or not, but I personally haven't heard of it. Send me a message there with a link to it or something. Is it true sciatica isn't a thing? It's just a symptom. It's either a chemical or a physical stressor most of the time for what I see in a lot of people. There's a lot of stress on the skeleton and the tissues there physically on a daily basis. Even just crossing your legs over and over at work is going to stress that pelvic area. And now you're going to put stress on L5, on the sacrum, and rotate some of those. And now you can have a disc start to push on the nerve root there, where that sciatic nerve will eventually come out. Obviously, there's, muscle things that go on, structural things that go on. I would go to a chiro. That'd be my number one thing. Other than that, like maybe you're just eating an absurd amount of sugar and it could be like a neuropathy type of thing. But, that would kind of be in your feet and things there. It wouldn't be like in the butt cheek, crawling its way down. I would go to a chiro and you could easily get that worked on pretty quickly. So, trying to conceive immediately. Remedies. So I would want to run a blood and a urine hormone test so that we know where hormones are at and where stress is at. What does your liver look like? That's a big question that I wouldn't just want a shotgun approach with by any means, because it's really going to apply to you in particular. Where there are issues with fertility in the past, issues with the cycle, because that is a marker on your fertility there. But give us some more details. Yeah. For heart, I would want you to send me a message here. This sounds like we have several things tied in metabolically, and you're probably going to need more attention than what I can give you on this live. I thought it was for shin splints, but it was actually because of my ankles. It could be some instability that's now traveling up the kinetic chain, because from your toe to your butt is all connected. You can't separate them, so they're going to have effects on each other. And yeah, sometimes it's from the ground up, sometimes it's from the hips down, sometimes it depends on the person, but okay. Somebody sore throat, I would grab the herbal throat spray. My goodness. Best thing ever. Tastes like Christmas, too. Snag that. Where did you get those? What brand? They are the TrueDark. TrueDark, I think David Asprey owns that. So check that out. But Raw Optics, RA.optics is another good one. They have kind of different styles to them. I don't know what your style is, right? There's some crazy ones out there, but those are kind of the two biggest ones I've seen and actually prove that they can block it out. But yeah, I love wearing them. I mean, it looks weird being yellow all the time. Like right now, everywhere I look is kind of yellow a little bit. But the amount of screen time that I do, my eyes were drying out. My eyes were burning on a daily basis. None of that going on anymore. So, real quick fix. And then the sleep improvements too, because when you're looking at the blue light all day long, even after hours, especially after hours, no wonder you can't sleep. It's going to inhibit melatonin. So, yeah, I'd be curious for the weakness question, what potassium looks like, but that's going to be very much tied into how your liver's handling things, medications that are being done here. This is going to be a big metabolic involved thing. So we would probably have to get on the phone for this one. People from Ghana, people from Africa. Oh my goodness. Look at all that. Sweet. Actually, the battery is not dying yet. That's kind of cool. Usually, battery dies pretty quick when we're going live. Toxins. Any form of toxicity is going to be stored in fat. So they asked, repeat what you said, stored in fat cells. It's any form of toxicity. So that's like the number one place to put it, because you got to hide it somewhere. It can't be in the bloodstream. Your body's going to try and stack that away as fast as it can. That's what leads to people having a bunch of issues too. But yeah, the metals were what I was kind of going through. Consequences for gastroparesis. Well, I mean, the people that you're seeing medically are going to be the ones to tend to a 911 kind of situation there, or a Wesley Chapel popping in there. What's going on, guys? How you doing? All the way from Florida. But yeah, in terms of the situation there, there's a lot metabolically going on. So I'm very cautious to talk through, electrolytes and things like that, because it's going to be different for you based on how your body can move fluids. Like if there's any, is there a swelling occurring in the legs, like lipedema or edema in the legs? That would kind of be my next one. And with the fatigue and things going on, how many medications are involved here? I can kind of feel the scenario already from the comments that you left there. Hello, Doc. How sun can affect SLE patient and how sun increase the risk of cancer? Well, I disagree with that. I don't think that the sun is trying to kill you. So I disagree with that, if that's what you're trying to say here. Because, I mean, you do need it. If there's no sun, there was no vitamin D supplements back then, like how are you getting enough? And even nutritionally, if you have like the perfect diet coming in with the most vitamin D rich foods, you're not going to make it through a winter in the Northeast. I'm sorry. But yeah, and look at people that live in Florida. They're way happier, way healthier than a lot of people in the Midwest or up north. Have you heard about silica-rich mineral water for chelating aluminum? Your body does that every day. So there's not a magic thing out there that's in the medical or natural world, Like, there's not a wonder drug out there. There's not a wonder herb out there. It's why are these exposures high, and how is your body trying to get rid of it? Where is it lacking that support to get rid of it? And then influencing that based on the guided labs that you have, and then repeated labs over time until it goes away. And then you don't have to continue care. That's the structure of how healthcare should be. That is how I do things. That's how all the other wellness clinics do things. Yeah. Get tested, figure out why your symptoms are happening there in the first place, know what to do to rebuild. There's going to be some bumps in the road. Healing is not linear. It is not fast. It is not easy. It takes consistency. It takes time. And yeah, then as you keep doing those things, you get better. And you can come off some of those supportive factors and then retest and then be done with constantly having to do things and take things. And hopefully you take all of what you learned about your body and continue that on. And then you can do annual labs, making sure that we're growing in the right direction. Because if you're cruising, you're going downhill. If you're not paying attention to something, it's probably going downhill. That literally goes for anything in life, any purpose in life. All applies the same way. So okay. Where did we leave off? Ooh, okay. So we have some new details there. No swelling. Okay, then something of what you said earlier threw me off. No swelling, which is good. Severe fatigue. No medication. Minimal to no intake during flares. Causes FND. So I would want to do a functional GI test to figure out what is going on with barrier function, what is happening with the immune system, how heightened is that response, what are pre and probiotic levels looking like, what's the overall environment down there, so that we can get that clinical picture and know how to rebuild things. What needs to come out, what needs to go in, and now you can start catching some ground there. In terms of the fatigue side of things, it's probably from the GI concerns, and you're probably extremely deficient in potassium, and obviously some other things too, but I would want you to get your minerals down as you're, figuring some of this out. But I would schedule a free call. Let's get a GI test going and figure out what's going on for you. Definitely don't negate the minerals, though. All right. Trying to get back down here. Yeah, that is true, though. Like, when I look at smokers, okay, I was just catching up here. So, issue with heavy metals is that in some people they can stick around for years, if not decades. That is true. That is true. I've seen it. I've seen it with smokers. I've seen it in MS. I've seen it in multiple things. And yeah, your body's having trouble removing that toxicity because there's constant toxicity coming in. So it has to go, okay, store this. We got to deal with what's coming in right now. And in the meantime, we're constantly trying to store the crud away as we're dealing with the crud coming in. So again, figuring out where the sources are coming from and then knowing how that's affecting your body, and then you know how to support the liver and the GI and all the pathways that get those things out, because your body was not created for disease processes. Your body was created to handle all the stressors that you encounter, and then there's things on this planet that were also programmed to help the body in those ways, which is pretty cool. When we talk about things like Schisandra, milk thistle, dandelion root, different binders in the GI and things, and chelators, ACZ zeolite, sauerkraut juice. There's a lot of things, but you don't just shotgun and frickin' start detoxing everything. That's what TikTok is And all the other socials have led you guys to do the wrong way. So, but yeah, just to shine some light on that without the chelating agents. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different there, but it depends on what's going on. We got some people going back and forth, which is kind of funny. All right, minerals, normal range, okay. Lower sign, daily nausea. Yeah, these are just a bunch of symptoms. How you figure out what's going on is you have to get labs done to show why these are happening, right? Also, MTHFR mutations. Everybody has the MTHFR gene. If there's mutations there, eat some goddamn eggs. Holy hell. Like, we are freaking out over a $600 freaking gene test to tell you to take in more B vitamins. Organ meats, eggs, done. Could do that with pennies on the dollar. Don't even need a test to tell you that. You should be consuming those foods anyways. But, yeah. I think it's just overblown in that topic in particular. And detoxification is done through way more than just an MTHFR gene. There's so much. I mean, look at an oats test. Look at all of that and the detoxification pathways. That is a step in there, but there's so many steps. IV chelation can be very dangerous. Yeah, it could kill you, because if you're getting the toxins that the body stored out into the bloodstream way too quick and not letting the body kind of know what's going to happen there, you should you need to support things for your body with your toxicity and your pathways that are trying to get it out. You know, the guru stuff of the magic thing that you take for this freaking thing is like, it's just so exhausting to be on here and do this every day. So exhausting. Like, that's probably the worst part about going live, is having to constantly say, like, hey, you're being sold things. This is not healthcare. You're being sold things. We gotta do the healthcare part. Okay, so docs dismiss it. FND, second opinion, tertiary hospital though. Yeah, what's causing it though? Because people, it sounds like you're chasing the diagnostic term, but why is it happening? That's the questions we need to answer. And again, that comes from doing some functional labs to figure out where the function was lost in the first place. And the GI has so much influence on the brain. So the FND thing, connected with the gastro issues going on, they are connected, and they do influence each other. And that's probably what's going on, and that's the test I want to order, is to figure out why that's happening. Sarcoidosis. I've seen a couple people with it, and really from our perspective, it's, well, what triggers can we find that's inflaming that body subclinically that no one else is really going to look for? I've seen connections to fungal issues, whether that be mold or other types of fungus and yeast. Bacterial. I've seen deficiencies. I've seen different tox detect profiles come on. Inabilities to remove things throughout the body. So inability to detox. Energy production. Mitochondria's function is off. It depends. Heavy metal stuff. You could get into the weeds there, but where are the biggest tiers for that person? You know, again, with the diagnostic terms, like, I have this condition, what do I take? You're just trying to copy the medical world with natural stuff, and that doesn't work. I'll be the first person to tell you that. So yeah, it's instead of copying the medical approach, it's why are you having these symptoms? What can you do as the patient aside from taking a pill that involves nutrition, lifestyle support, any supplement factors from the lab work that proves and tells us why we're doing everything that we're doing, and then when to stop what we're doing based on retests and checking things in between. So yeah, and it really does boil down to the different stressors that you encounter on a daily basis, mental, chemical, physical. You could put everything underneath those. And now as you start to pay attention to these things, figure out for your body with your lab results where we need to head. And that's basically what I do, is guide people on that process. And it's very easy once you have the lab work. Well, it's easier. Then it's, okay, we got to be consistent with our behaviors. So it's very much behavioral piece too. Eating a bunch of sassy food doesn't help you heal at all. It's actually some of the main reasons I see people in the first place. Sip on that. All right. More good questions coming in here. SIPA disease. I've never heard of that one. There's always new ones coming out, right? When it's the same old story causing them in the first place. What about mitochondrial enzyme deficiencies? Is that worse than MTHFR for detoxification? Because some of us have really hard times detoxifying. Yeah, I would do an oats test that could show you the mitochondrial involvement there and things microbially going on, pissing off the system, possible metal exposure, mycotoxins, other outside exposures there too, how that, detoxification pathway works there too. But yeah, that could definitely be a piece. You could be deficient, you could be toxic, you could be both. But that's all from being chronically inflamed, which is from your stressors in the first place. So you got to figure those out and get the labs done to support that. It makes sense, but yeah, I hate the buzz term stuff. That's basically what I'm trying to work out of you guys. Let's get these buzz terms out of here and just fix the damn problems, right? Okay, so from toxins in general, yeah, it's going to be different per person, but toxicity is a big one in today's world. From plastics, metal exposures, you have other ingredients too, other degreasers and all these products that are used in cars and air and perfumes and cosmetics and all this thing. That's why mainly cosmetic female workers is where I see the most toxic exposure, to be honest. Hairdressers, estheticians, things like that. Psoriasis on her feet. That's coming from the GI. She could start taking some Oregon grape. Been shown in research to help with the skin barriers and things, but that's because it's helping what's going on microbially on the inside with the amount of berberine in there, helping with sugar metabolism, bringing proteins down, fats, and things like that. Oregon grape is a fantastic one. But then, yeah, you could do some of that in there and a GI test, food allergy test, and it's part of a larger issue, which if there's a belly and fat that's getting, deposited on the abdomen there and weight gain, things like that, there's probably more going on with sugar handling, how the liver was working, fungal issues, hence the psoriasis. So daily practice that's not an intensity work if you have scoliosis. I do like, there are a few yoga ball stretches that you can do where you're, and I don't know if, what type of intensity level that we're talking about, but this is very low. Where, almost through the mic there, where you have these curves, you want to put your yoga ball here so that you can lean over that. And you're basically going to go like if my spine is like hold on. If my spine is like this, I want to put my yoga ball here and then lean over that thing. And then you can do that in the different areas that's going on. But, vibration plates, one-time purchases. You can do probably a little bit of lighter rebounding. You could do an inversion table, some, maybe, I don't know if I would do foam rolling. I would kind of have to know your situation, but I'll go to a chiro, and they can give you a lot of at-home things to do as well. Go to a local chiropractor. That's your best bet. But there are some mineral issues there too, most of the time. Copper, zinc, that can lead to some of that. Okay. Oats test. How do you spell it? You just did. Literally oats. Good morning. Hello. Let's get back over here. Okay. Swimming recommended. That could be very beneficial for something like sciatica. Yeah, nail techs, they definitely get exposed to quite a bit there, even in the air. All right. Cool beans, people. Nice little round of live here. I'm probably going to eat something, though. And who knows? Maybe we'll be back on later. Maybe not. But nice round. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. For the people trying to get complimentary calls or new patient appointments or get the stuff that I talked about, link in bio there. Marwa popping in at the last moment. But we'll probably be back on later. So, see you guys later.